It's not gone live yet. Bear with me. We're getting ready. The intro is coming. We're here. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. I'm hosting today. Here, let me just turn that music down because I'm pressing buttons like nobody's business here. But the main thing is the three of us are on the screen and we're here and we're live, ready on the Absolute Football Podcast for a World Cup special episode. It's lovely to see you all here again. It's been a little while. We did some World Cup watch-alongs and we've all had quite a lot of things going on, but it's lovely to have everybody. So I'm hosting today because Josh is in a hotel with questionable internet connection and other things that he has kind of planned. So we're trying to host it all from here. So Josh will be back with us soon when we come back in the new year. But it's not just me, of course. We have the man to my left on the screen, the man who possibly would have won the World Cup by playing William Saliba at centre-back, perhaps. Lucas, how are you?
I still stand by that. It would have happened. No, I'm good. I'm happy to be back. It's gone so quickly. So like it's been a long time since we did the pod, but the World Cup has gone very quick. So yeah, it's good to get back into the mix of things.
100%. And of course, the obligatory question: are you ready for today's podcast, sir?
Absolutely. I was just about to get a drink. Absolutely.
It's been so long, we've forgotten the tagline. And of course, it's not just the two of us. We are very privileged, very happy to welcome the new member of our team, I'm happy to say. I have had the official permission to be able to say this now. Hayley, welcome to the team. And thank you for being with us.
It's public knowledge now, then.
It's public knowledge. It's official. They got the sign off.
That's all right then. Yes, I'm officially part of the team now. So
exactly, officially part of the team. And as officially part of the team, are you excited about today's podcast?
Of course, I'm excited about today's podcast. It's been it might well be the highlight of my day. Which, if my friend Georgia is watching, sorry, mate.
It's a very important highlight of everyone's day. I think it's only fair and reasonable. But so we're absolutely buzzing to have you on board. So it's lovely to have you on and get your opinions. Of course, you did the World Cup preview with us, so it's only right that you do the World Cup review as well. We won't go through our predictions, although some of them I think were good. We might have to delve that for another time.
Yeah, we don't need to go into the predictions.
That was shocking, to be honest. I think I only got maybe one of them right. So.
I think the two, if I remember, I think we were all pretty confident on England. I think we all got England around the same kind of time in the quarterfinals. And Japan, I think we were all quite hot on Japan, if I remember. So they're the two I'm taking. Ignoring everything else, nothing else matters. Just take the positives. Of course, we'll get into the World Cup. But as we haven't been here for a while, how is everybody? Lucas, are you ready for... It's Christmas. We must mention Christmas in the episode as well. How is your Christmas preparation coming together?
I've been having like so many conversations about Christmas with people, and most of the conversations is always the same thing. Everyone's like, it doesn't feel like Christmas. And I think it probably is because the World Cup. I feel like that's just taken over the entire atmosphere of things at the moment. Obviously, everyone working from home and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think the next couple of days is literally the build up to Christmas with like 4 days to go. So I'm traveling on Christmas Eve. Fingers crossed the strikes don't get me lost in the middle of the country. Taking a bit of a risk there. But all my presents did them early for the first time ever. So
you've done them all. Well done.
Good, yeah.
I've done the obligatory. I bought a lot of stuff. I chucked it in a cupboard. I haven't wrapped it yet. So as it comes out of the cupboard, I'm either going to discover. I'm almost like going to discover the person who's getting the present, what they're going to get as well, and then either panic that what I've got is terrible and I need to change the ideas, or I've outdone myself. So we will see. And Hayley, how is your Christmas present?
I haven't wrapped anything yet, and I'm usually really on the ball with it. I've just been so busy. I just haven't had a chance to yet. Tomorrow is my wrapping night.
It's your emergency wrapping night. The main thing is you've got wrapping paper, or you'll be Smithy on Gavin and Stacey with the old tin. We had the old tin foil.
I did do that once. I did it when I was at uni because I couldn't afford wrapping paper, but I had loads of tin foil in the cupboard.
Oh my God.
Needs must. So Christmas is coming, but the World Cup was here. And I want to start, before we go into the detail of all the particulars, in general, how you found the tournament, your sort of overall takes. I think, Lucas, if we start with you, what did you think overall of this World Cup, a Christmas World Cup, as you already said?
I say by the time it started off a bit slow. Obviously, we had the Saudi Arabia, Argentina surprise win, and then Japan, Germany. But even so, I think the group stages was a little bit underwhelming overall, just in terms of, I don't know, I think it was a bit of the quality was a bit low. There was only a few high scoring games. There's a lot of like really stinky draws and things like that. But I think by the time knockouts came, when we got to semi-final, I was like, it's definitely in the top 3 World Cups I've seen in my lifetime, next to 02 and 06, I think I put it. And then by the time the final came and second half of the final, I was like, yeah, this is easily the best World Cup I've seen that I can remember watching. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm really upset that it's over. It's weird. I don't usually get that upset around the World Cups ending, because when they end in the summer as well, you've also got like another month before football resumes, whereas this one ends and we've got Man United are playing tonight. And even so, I'm still upset that the World Cup's ended. I'm like, I don't care about Premier League football anymore. I just want to watch the World Cup. So yeah, it did the job for me of pure entertainment.
It did kind of, you're right. I think it built, didn't it? It built up the group. There were some moments in the group stage, and I think that was it. It was more moments in the group stage, and then once it got through to knockout, it seemed like all hell broke loose. And that bit seemed to happen really quickly. I find you get the group stage where that first week sort of comes by, and you're like seeing all the teams for the first time. Then before you know it, there's 16 and there's 8, and it's like bang, Brazil are out, bang, that's happened, and you kind of can't cope with the speed of it all. It's just insane. And how about you, Hayley? How did you overall your take on the World Cup?
So yeah, I have to agree. Like the group stages were quite a slow burner, but because there was obviously so many of them, it just seemed like it was going on forever. And then, like as soon as the group stages ended, it was like that's it. It's gone. Like it went from group stages done to the final in what felt like minutes. To be honest with you, like that's how quick it was. I did enjoy some of the group stages because we did see like some teams, like say Saudi Arabia beating Argentina. That was a bit of a shocker. And stuff and whatnot, and some surprise kind of like results, but at the same time, it was at times a bit dull. I always kind of had it on in the background, or if I was working or something like that, because obviously, like I am a journalist and reporter and stuff, so like it was of interest for me to know what was going on. But at the same time, like it was also a little bit like, oh, it's just happening, isn't it? There's not really a lot going on, like I said, a lot of draws. Them ones were quite dull. Because you want a bit of spice, don't you?
You do. I think it did feel a bit like that because, as you said, I think the first week you get so excited. I know I had it off, and I know Lucas, you had some time off as well during it, and you get so sucked into it. Then it's just an overload, isn't it? There's an overload of stuff happening. It's just, and it was. I think it was surprising in so many ways. And so Eskimo Ross, thanks for joining us today. He's in the chat telling us it surprised him, the background noise regarding issues, but the football did the talking in the end. Yeah, I think from a football perspective, an unbelievable tournament. Of course, you can join us on YouTube and Twitch if you want to check your thoughts on the World Cup in the comments. Then go ahead and have your say with us. It was an incredible kind of burner through that process, and a lot of football and a lot of group stage matches, and then the knockout stage just goes from a million mile an hour. I think you almost need a week after each round, I think, to just digest what you've seen before suddenly you're in quarterfinal mode and then you're out or you're in. Who knows?
I think you're right. I think they should probably have like a couple of days after each round of the group.
I think
the group stage was just 4 games a day as well, and it was just like, and then all 3 rounds back to back. What was it? 17? Was it 17 days? A game?
It was about 17.
Yeah,
with the 4 that.
Just from kind of like a journalist point of view as well, it didn't feel like we kind of had like a kind of break to sort of either preview what could happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
the news lasted 10 minutes.
From both a fan and work perspective. So I was like, right, okay, that match is just finished. Hang on a minute. That one's in an hour. I haven't really got time to kind of even round it up properly. Yeah. Because I like to do a proper in-depth sort of analysis of what's happened, but I haven't got the time to do that because I'm already focusing on who's been announced for the lineup for the next match, what predictions are going to be, and why. So then by the time the end of the day is, we do the end of the day roundup, there's too much to put in. So that layout for me wasn't great. And I think the group stages did go on for way too long. So I think if they were to change anything, they need to mix that back up again.
Definitely that 4 game a day, didn't it? Just it overlaid it. And while there was something amazing about watching football at 10 o'clock in the morning, I found, having never, that's the one time. Thinking a bit of breakfast. I've got a couple, particularly that Argentina Saudi Arabia game. I was sat there with a coffee watching, going, this is brilliant. Why haven't we been doing this for years? 10 o'clock morning football.
Coffee and World Cup football at the beginning. It was brilliant. It was the 1 and 4 p.m. one, which were a bit annoying. Because
my favourite things to come out of this, though, I've seen so many things on Instagram and Twitter and being like, 10 a.m., we're at the pub already. And I'm like, how are you doing this? Like, I
just watch it at home.
So it's just like, I don't have time to breathe. How do you have time to be at the pub? So it was really, really kind of like I love the busyness of it, but at the same time, like 10 a.m.s were tough because a lot of the time, like I've left the job I was in last time I was on here, but I started at 10:30 most of the time. So 10 a.m. I had the radio on. The next thing you know, as soon as I got in, I'd be like, "Oh my god, it started!" And it was just absolutely manic.
It was mad. Just so much, as you said, so much going on. How I say, I think Eskimos just said it there. How you had enough time researching players and everything, no time at all. And say Rusty's with us as well. Rusty Shackleton, as he's called by Josh, of course, when he's in. Great World Cup and everything. Big up Japan and Morocco. Impressed me a lot. Good to have you with us. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And that was a tournament as a whole. And where I want to start with is the way it ended with the World Cup final itself, which. Have we seen a more bonkers game? I mean, utterly unbelievable, surely. We'll start with the first 80 minutes because that was a completely different game in my view. And so maybe, Hayley, do you want to come in on this on the first 80 minutes? Argentina were rolling them over, weren't they? It was game over, we all thought.
Yeah, to start off with the final, you probably saw my tweet, but I was really, really conflicted because I really want Messi to lift the trophy, which he did, but I had France in the sweepstakes, so I really wanted to win the money. But I still want a tenner because they got second, but tenner versus 65 was a bit of a letdown. So, oh well. But yeah, I genuinely thought, even though they ended up lifting the trophy in the end, I thought Argentina had it in a nutshell. And then Mbappe comes along and being like, haha, joke's on you. Just throws it in. And I'm like, wow, okay. Literally, yeah. My respect for that player has gone up quite a lot, apart from when he was smirking a bit too much when Kane missed the penalty. I don't know.
Yeah. There was a bit of a moment for me with that second penalty, and I thought, oh, maybe this is the justice gods coming around, and that you just see the memes coming out, and it was like, no, it's Mbappe, absolutely deadly.
Yeah. There was another meme I actually saw on TikTok. And it was actually Messi who was in the crowd watching a game, and apparently it was a Portugal game that they got knocked out of, and it said something like when Portugal get knocked out, and it was just Messi going. If I can find it, I will send you it later.
If only you knew what was coming up next.
Exactly. Unbelievable. It was just that switch on 80 minutes, because I was watching it thinking, and there were rumours of a France virus, wasn't there, illness, and they looked leggy, and it was a mix of them looking leggy and Argentina getting around them, but they just couldn't get hold of the ball and were dominated, weren't they? I mean, did you foresee any way they were getting back in it, Lucas?
No, I was quite disappointed with how France were performing in that game. I thought they looked, like you said, lackluster. They were worse than when they played against us. And even that game I was like, how has this France team managed to get to the final? Like, they're really not that good. They were literally the same as the Euros team with worse players in that first 11. Giroud, Griezmann, all players who've been important for them were just really disappointed in that game. So, whereas Argentina just came out the back. Argentina came out in that first 10 minutes. You were like, Argentina have come out like, we're winning this trophy. Like, we're not letting France win this today. So, yeah, it was a bit one-sided. That's the only thing, the knock on it. It was very one-sided. But then when you've got Mbappe, it's just...
It can change everything. Argentina, for me, they just played it like it was life or death. It was a life or death. It's now or never. This is our game. And France played it like someone who, like, we won this 4 years ago. Yeah, and we'll just play it like another game, and it will kind of work out the way it does. And say Mbappe couldn't get in the game at all, and then you get two. He was involved in the build-up, wasn't he, for the first, as well as just the penalty. But I mean, that second goal,
the penalty as well,
and he won the penalty, and then buries the penalty, and then that second, there's no other player in the world that hits that first time. No other player in the world.
The nerve
Haaland,
to just
maybe.
Do it.
Yeah,
exactly. Haaland.
And just an unbelievable performance. And say, Eskimo Ross, exactly right. Di Maria running the show of all people. So
he's brilliant.
It was just, he was rolling back the years, wasn't he? And absolutely destroying Koundé on that right-hand side with all the space that they had. So, unbelievable. And Mbappe brings it back. So then we've got 2-2. We're at Desmond at full time. It's all very exciting. And we're sneaking into extra time. And the game just goes utterly bonkers. It just goes to an end-to-end absolute slugfest.
Misses as well. Like, clear-cut chances missed from both teams. Lautaro Martinez, Moani.
Lautaro Martinez was just a miss wheel, wasn't he, for the entire tournament? I've never seen a player who's played so bad in front of goal that's won a World Cup as the leading striker, starting the tournament as a leading striker anyway. But it was just crazy, back and forth, and then even the Messi goal was strange, wasn't it? Because we're all sitting there thinking, is there a moment? Mbappe, Messi, and then Messi gets the moment that we're all thinking, this is it. This is written in the stars, the script. But then, of course, the VAR question's there, and we're all sat there going, is it, isn't it? What's going on? And it just, for me, that killed the moment a little bit by having that question. Don't know what you thought about that.
VAR, and just in general, I found throughout the tournament was just very, like, it kind of gave a bit of an intense couple of minutes where it's kind of like, what's going on? And it was either way off the mark, in my opinion, or bang on. There was like no in between for like any match whatsoever. Like, especially with the England game, I'll come to that later. But it just seems so odd because, like, you'd think it would be instant like that with the tech and stuff they have now, but it just seemed to go on and on and on for ages. So when I was waiting to see if like penalties and stuff were going to be given, I was like, what is going on? Me and my dad were literally sat on edge thinking, are they, aren't they? And we're looking like, that should be a penalty, shouldn't it? And we're like, I think so. Yeah. And then the more it dragged out was just kind of...
It was a bizarre operation of it, and even the graphics they put up, where they put out that kind of wall, didn't they? But they wouldn't give you the perspective of the wall, so they were just like, "Here's a real close up," and you're like, "Yeah, there's an elbow through a transparent line, but I can't see across the line." You know, it was
so kind of the object a bit really because we can't actually see the actual foul.
No, exactly. But they did give the goal, and so Messi wheeled away, and we all thought, "Is that it? Is that it?" And then Mbappe again keeps his nerve in the tightest of moments. First hat trick to score a hat trick in a World Cup final and not bring home the trophy.
That's insane.
He must be sitting in those changing rooms looking around going, come on, lads. Come on, lads.
Is that the second time that's ever happened as well in a final, if I remember rightly?
It's the 60s.
Yeah, that's something. Like, I'd be... Obviously, it's gutting not to win the World Cup, but I'd be buzzing just with that, to be fair.
Yeah. Like we probably won't see that again in our lifetime.
No. This will be the final.
Unless it'll be Mbappe again.
Unless Mbappe does it again, 2026 destroys it. And as you said, there was Mrs. I'm not sure in 20 years I'll be able to cope the same with that game as I did. It was back and forth, and so we had Latam with Martinez missing opportunities France had, and say Rusty's exactly right here. That Martinez save was absolutely insane right at the end. I mean, unbelievable how he's pulled that one out. I mean, there were so many options that he could have taken to put it past him, but still to make that save at the death. And that's the sort of moment that's going to haunt you, isn't it? That's going to haunt you it's what you all dream of, that moment to win the final, and it wasn't to be. And then talking of Martinez, we then get to the penalty shootout. Is there a goalkeeper in the world you would rather not face?
The best. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. He
might be the best of all time, though. On his way to
an absolute mentality monster when it comes to that. Yeah, it's
just completely like kicking the ball away, just cussing the players in front of them, like calling them names,
and gives absolutely zero monkeys about doing it, doesn't he? He's just literally gets in the head. And Chouameni, I think he did, and he threw the ball away. The referee took a while to get on top of it, but and his antics are well known too. So Aston Villa, he goes back to, don't face Aston Villa, and if you get them in the cup, don't go to penalties. Do not go to penalties.
Unai Emery's like defensive system with that, they're going to be
knowing that Martinez is awaiting you in a penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely horrible. And of course, Martinez does the business, and Argentina lift the trophy. So as you say, unfortunately, it didn't come through for you on your sweepstake, but Messi did get that step up to the top rank of the World Cup. He joins Maradona, he joins the legacy, and I think for his legacy, it's what we all as football fans wanted to see. It ticks the box, doesn't it? Yeah. So of course we can't discuss it without the legacy, and we have to mention the conversation, the GOAT conversation. Where do we sit on it now? Where do we sit on it now?
I've always been, even though I've always, to be honest, till recently, I've always been a bit of a fan of Ronaldo, but his attitude and stuff in the past few years has just ruined it for me a little bit. Like, he's a fantastic player, no doubt about that, but it's only really in the last couple of years that he's kind of like gone down for me a little bit, and that's kind of also in the last few years I've also seen more of Messi, because the last World Cup I didn't work in the what I do now. And as much as I was following it, I wasn't following it as in depth. I just knew he was good, basically. That was all I could have told you. But Messi, in my opinion, has done so much more compared to Ronaldo. I'm not saying Ronaldo hasn't achieved anything, but genuinely speaking, I think Messi is the GOAT just from what he's achieved and the fact that he's now won a World Cup. As far as I'm aware, could be wrong, correct me, but Ronaldo hasn't. So
just a
he
Euros,
would have to get up to that level, in my opinion, to even match what Messi's got now. Because I'm sure Messi's won a Golden Boot before as well, multiple, if I remember rightly, actually. And he's also won multiple leagues across different countries and stuff like that and whatnot. And like, he's really, really on top of his game. And I think I don't think he will straight away, but if he was to retire now, I think he'd retire at top form.
I think Ronaldo was ahead of him in terms of achievements. I think you could say not in terms of like if you quantified it. If you looked at like the goals that he's obviously scored the most professional league goals and Champions Leagues, they've got a load each, but Ronaldo's got a couple more league titles, other things. And then obviously Ronaldo had the Euros, Messi has a Copa America. So it was always like there was a debate to be had. Messi adding that World Cup means the debate's over, but the debate was always over in terms of footballing ability. I think it was just the achievements and their career and the longevity, which was up for debate. And now it's just there's no conversation on both of them, to be honest, between those two at least. So. The GOAT conversation is something different now, but there's no.
I think it's costing. So it's interesting what you're saying on Ronaldo, because obviously I think just as we had the last podcast, that the Ronaldo interview was coming out with all that stuff, and obviously I sit at it from being a Manchester United fan. My relationship with Ronaldo is different from having that. So I've always kind of tried to stay in the middle because I love Messi and I've watched Messi destroy Man United teams in the past, and trying to be like I've just appreciated the two. But it's interesting that parallel of the last 6 months with Ronaldo, with United, all the noise, and it became about United, and then what we saw with him with Portugal was again a kind of mirror image of the same. And I think it won't, the rest of the world were looking at it going, well, hang on, it can't just be Ten Hag and Man United and everything else. This is a consistent pattern. As you said, Ronaldo was then, Portugal were better without him, and Messi was integral to Argentina. And I know Messi's a couple of years older and the rest of it, but how Ronaldo's handled this dip at the same time that Messi's having the biggest rise he's ever going to have, it's just kind of been that parallel together that, I mean, for Messi to be above there and what he brings and how he operates and how he is publicly as well, how he's foreseen. I mean, he was already a god in Argentina. I don't know what you get above a god, but I think he's reached that status, hasn't he? It's a question that, for them, exactly. He's on a plane that, Maradona was on now. Well, he was anyway, but...
Do you think this makes him the greatest player of all time, objectively speaking?
I think it has to. Eras are difficult, aren't they? Eras are difficult because of different times. And
for me, I
haven't seen them. For me, and we're seeing lists that people are putting out. And look, I loved Ronaldo. I loved CR9. R9 Ronaldo. He was fantastic. But the fact that he's above Pele, Maradona, or Cristiano Ronaldo in a list is utterly insane. For me, that's
can't be. No Champions League as well.
Exactly.
Not his fault, but I mean,
not his fault.
Career-wise, that's a very big.
It's a big milestone. It's been Pele, Maradona from the previous era, and Messi and Ronaldo from this era. But for me, Messi's surpassed them all now.
And Pele's thing, the not with Pele, is obviously he played in Brazil his entire career. Didn't he?
And they keep finding more goals, don't they? Suddenly, Messi, there's another. Oh yeah, he played at 86 when he played for the under-14s, down in Botafogo or something.
Like,
hang on a minute,
just pulling them out of nowhere.
He's got
he played that Sunday League team down in Doncaster. He scored a couple there as well.
He did. The Doncaster Pele. I'm sure that's a pub or something, isn't it?
Great player when you see the clips, but it's like his entire career was in the Brazilian league in the 60s. Is like, whereas Maradona played for Napoli and won them a Champions League, if I not remember, but if I know correctly. But I think it does. I think objectively adding that World Cup just cements it, because with a lot of people who have seen Maradona and Messi play, that old generation would say Messi over Maradona, and the ones before who've seen Pele and Maradona, a lot of them would say Maradona was actually their preferred player. So I think it does cement him as the greatest footballer on paper of all time.
Yeah,
it does. It did feel like when I was watching the final, you're watching a historical moment. You're watching something that you can see in 20 minutes. Well, yeah, definitely in 20 minutes. In 20 years, that those images that you were kind of watching would be brought out again and would still be talking about it. So, and an image, I have to bring this up from Rusty, a very different image in reference to Martinez, of course, with the Golden Glove trophy. I won't read that there. So if you're on audio, I apologise, but you can watch this on YouTube and Twitch and see what we're talking about there with regards to Martinez and his collection of the Golden Glove. I'm sure you can picture what we're discussing there. So absolutely. So Argentina on top of the world, massive for Messi, huge. But we have to move on to, of course, our home nation, the three of us, England, and what our expectations are. And I think Hayley's going to lead us through to start us off with her thoughts on England and what happened.
So England, like, I think the group stages for them were fantastic. Like, it was our strongest part of the tournament, 100%. Having said that, we weren't up against, I thought, very strong contenders. So, I mean, Iran, for example, etc.
They weren't
terrible. Like, it was a 6-2. Like,
and Wales.
I think we still could, if we started playing like we did in the second, was it the second half? We started picking up the speed a little bit, if I remember rightly. If we played like that from the beginning, I think it could have even been more, in my opinion. So, USA were a little bit better than I thought they were going to be, but they still weren't up to quite the par that I was expecting. Wales, again, I think they did amazing to get there, but when it actually came to it, they didn't perform very well. But I think a lot of it was nerves. A lot of it was like there was a lot of pressure on them from home nation. It's the first time they've got there in 64 odd years or something. So I don't think generally speaking, we had a relatively easy group. So we were always going to come out quite strong from that, I think. But then we go into quarterfinal. I think, generally speaking, I think England were the better team, and there was a lot of unfair kind of action going on. It seemed like every time France made a foul, the referee was like, in my opinion, I counted at least 4 that weren't picked up, booked, or anything. But so what? That's my general feeling on it. To be honest, like, could have been a lot worse, but could have been a fair bit better. Really.
No, I agree. I think what you're saying on the group stage, 100%. It was when you look at some of the other groups and some of the competitors that were in there, we were fortunate because Iran were terrible. I know they performed against Wales, but I remember. So I think we were talking, Lucas, those first 2 games, Qatar and Iran in those first 2 games were the level was
horrendous.
Awful, absolutely awful. And so dominating them, USA was turgid, and we didn't go after it. And it was just one of those we didn't want to lose it tournament games. Okay, fair enough. It worked out in the end and we topped the group. So you kind of take that on the chin and go, we'll take it. And then, as you said, Wales did so well to get there, but their players are just beyond the peak, I think, wasn't it? Bale and Ramsey were just didn't have the legs to contend in a full 90 minutes, and the gap was too obvious. I thought they dealt with Senegal well, despite after a difficult early half an hour. That was a good... That was where you start to say, okay, there's a bit of character here, and that we were really kind of bossing it around. And I thought, it was going into the France game, I thought toss of the coin, and after the game, that's what I thought as well. It was always going to be a game of moments. The referee was terrible, was shocking. There was moments all over the pitch going on, decisions left, right, and centre, and as usual, lack of consistency. But that always seems to be the case at a World Cup anyway. And we got done by 2 very, very good goals, 2 very, very good goals and moments that we couldn't quite bring out in ourselves for various reasons. I'm sure we'll come on to the man at the helm shortly. That's maybe one of those reasons. But it just seems that's always the case, that somebody has an ace up their sleeve and we just don't quite have it. And we were a penalty away from taking it to extra time, weren't we, at the end of the day?
Yeah. Well, I don't think Kane should have took the second penalty. But literally what I was just about to say, actually, what's come on the screen. I think it was way too much pressure on Kane to perform. He knew all eyes were on him. And I think if anyone was in his position where he'd already scored 1, having to score another, that was too much for him. Like, way too much. So I think someone else should have taken that. And I think if it had, they would have scored. That's no disrespect to Kane whatsoever. I think he's a fantastic player. He's not scored as many this time round as he did in the Euros, but he's there as a bit of experience and a bit of kind of like morale booster in the team. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows the pitch. He knows the players, and he knows the strength. I think that's why he's captain. So I think he does bring a lot to the team, even though he didn't score as many goals in this tournament. But that was too much pressure for him. One was enough. Someone else should have been stepped up to the plate. But having said that, whose decision was it? Was it Kane's? Was it Southgate's? Because in my opinion, has history repeated itself a little bit? Whereas if it was Southgate, because he got Saka to take that penalty in the Euros, very young lad, too much pressure for him, bottled it. Has it happened again? I think that's what's happened again if it was a decision on Southgate, which in that case, he needs to take a look back and stop giving too much responsibility to
players who haven't got the mentality in those positions. Yeah,
he needs to mix it up a little bit, because I think if he does, he'll see more success rate. That's really the only criticism I had there. Other than that, I think we played really, really well in that quarterfinal. Like, Kyle Walker had Mbappe literally.
Yeah, he kept him quiet.
Yeah, he did. And that is not an easy job to do. Like, I respect him a lot for that.
I think England's game plan was England's best game in the tournament for me. I think that Iran one, like they were not up for it that game. They hadn't arrived, so I'm not gonna really. England were good, but England's best game was against France. I don't know necessarily in terms of the better team. The thing I say with England is like we never really looked like scoring outside of that Kane missed 1-on-1. It's like we were parked right outside their box. The thing is with France just looked like they were happy for us to have the ball, and Griezmann was the best player on the pitch for the entire game.
Stunning, wasn't he? Stunning.
He was just brilliant every time, like defending, attacking. Like he was world class. And you never really thought England were going to score a goal in open play. That was my one concern. And Kane, I mean, he bowled it. He bowled it, and I do think Kane's a great player. Obviously, he plays for the enemy, but he bowled it, and I would have put Kane on that penalty just because I think it's Harry Kane and he's his penalty.
Yeah,
he's one of the best penalty takers in the world. But I mean, you look in the final, what happened is the 23-year-old Mbappe scored three penalties. So it's like, the mentality all comes down to mentality these players. England's players just don't believe that they can win these things. Even with this generation, they're a lot better. They're a lot more unified. I just don't think they've got that mentality of winners, and that stems from the top. They're a very good set of players, but they don't look like they're there to win.
Because I grew up with like the likes of Beckham, Neville, Gerrard, like
they were winners.
They were winners, but they had the mentality in their heads. Even though they didn't win a World Cup, they believed they could. So the mentality was there for them to play to win. Whereas these guys, I think there is a lot more pressures these days, like with social media, with like a lot of the abuse that people, especially like Harry Maguire, for example, has been getting. Like, it's a lot more to carry on the shoulders than them guys had, essentially. Like, I think it's harder now to perform on pitch just from the extra additional stress that you can get just from outside of the playing field. So it's kind of hard, like, but I think the mentality wasn't quite there. I think once France had scored, they thought, that's it. I don't know if we can do it. I did see a little bit of kind of like fight back, but it's like the more they did, the more tired they got, and the more we're just like, we're not going to do it. We're not.
Yeah.
So
I think that belief, it's a massive thing, as you say, that we went in and we didn't believe pre-tournament, and it kind of built, and you could sense that was still kind of the same in the players. They knew that they could reach so they got the final with Italy. There's a mentality. Some of the players were talking the right things, but then to as you said, to act it in the minute. The Kane thing for me was really interesting because it was Lloris in goal. Now, Lloris is not a great penalty saver by any stretch of the imagination, and so it showed in the final. But you've got someone there that Harry Kane must have taken penalties against him in training. And he knows not just how Harry Kane takes penalties, but his decision-making. And if I'm doing one thing, then I'll do a different thing, and could second guess. And I think, and because Kane, it was more that Kane knew that than Lloris knew it. It got in it, and he thought, I've got to absolutely hammer this. And he just went over the top on the power. Then he just completely overcooked it because he's like, I've got to burst the net high here because I think Lloris is going to do this. And he didn't deal with that chess game. And he said, rather than just taking another penalty, I think it completely let the first one act it. And for me, the way the game kind of evolved was, we did the same thing that we'd done in the previous 2 tournaments, where once we got level and we got to that 1-1, we came after half time, the impetus was with us, and we just let that slip. We let that 15 minutes where we were on top. We didn't A, take advantage, or B, Southgate didn't take the changes that were, I think, available to him at that point. We needed to push France back that way. We needed pace going the other way. We had those players, a Rashford, maybe even Callum Wilson on the shoulder to bring on, to push them in there. And it allowed France to say, just compose themselves, find it. He didn't get Henderson off quick enough, and Henderson didn't get out quick enough to Griezmann. And those small little moments, and then, and we'll come on to it, can only have taken Saka off because it had either been kicked to pieces or had run out of gas, because Saka was absolutely destroying them down the right.
That was the one for me. Yeah. That was the one you can't defend. And I honestly couldn't care if I'm an Arsenal fan. So it's like if Saka had a knock, I really, in that moment, I'm sorry, but you've got to play on. You're the only you're our most threatening player in a quarterfinal of the World Cup. You cannot take off. No manager will ever do that. No manager will do that. And I don't understand why that was one of the decisions. And I was like, and then the person you bring on hasn't even been training with this a week.
It's been back for a day, having had a pretty, to be fair, traumatic event and you're thinking,
it's these things which I find very, very hard to defend the Southgate. And he's done a lot of good for England, but he doesn't know how to manage a game.
No, I think with every tournament, controversial maybe, he does get slightly better. Like I think he did learn from the penalties.
The back four as well. I'll give him that this tournament. Yeah. The back four was definitely
much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, I think he needs to get better at changes quicker, because I think we could have got so many more goals in if certain players had come on. If Grealish or Foden had come on in earlier games, like I can't remember which one it was, but
it was the America one, wasn't it? We were all screaming for Phil Foden.
Yeah, he did not. Was he even on in the USA game? I can't know.
Didn't even bring him on.
There was one he didn't come on at all, and then Grealish
Rashford as well.
Last couple of minutes in the France game, what good was that going to do? It was over at that point.
Same with Rashford, like our top goal scorer coming on for 5 minutes.
3 goals, they can give him half an hour, scare the life out of him with pace.
I kind of get the mentality is like I want you to save your energy and just kind of go all in and get something for us. But it needs to happen earlier. Even if they come on earlier and come off again later, then there needs to be that power behind us earlier in the game, because otherwise I don't think we're going to get anywhere. And please tell me, like, I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but why is Mason Mount there?
Oh my God. The fact Chelsea fans are even like, he should not be in that team just says it all. But the manager brings him on again. And
I think he can do some good in the right setting, but the World Cup is not the right setting for Mason Mount, in my opinion.
Not that game. Not that game.
I think he's more suited at home where he's at, because there's a different caliber of players. Like if he's only young anyway, so maybe if he gets a bit more trained up and a bit more experience behind him, then maybe I could see it in future. Yep. But it wasn't the right time for him to be at the World Cup. Granted, he got the second penalty for us, but obviously we all know how that turned out. So it was, it's just one of them, really. I don't think he should have been even on the bench or considered for this tournament. And I am a little bit disappointed that other people
didn't get opportunities. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. He's the morale of some of those players in that England team. They are not going to care. We've got to live. But like, you bring a load of players and you don't use them. It's like, why would they bother turning up for a tournament now? And he plays it safe with the same players. And fair enough, players like Maguire shut everyone up, because we were like, why is Maguire there? And he was outstanding the whole tournament. Him and Stones were brilliant. Like no one can say a bad thing about them. They were great.
Here's something for you, Dan. Who were your highlighted, like your top 3 players from the England team then, if you could pick?
Top 3, certainly Jude Bellingham, probably John Stones, because I think he absolutely marshaled that back line and was crucial.
Third one's hard.
The third one's hard. I would maybe even lean towards, because I think it was kind of underrated. I thought Declan Rice did a good job in there. I thought that's where we were strongest, was in the middle. So I'd probably go Rice, probably because we mucked around so much with other players. Saka maybe.
I'd even make a case for Rice, because Rice was good in every game we played. And the France game he was 10 out of 10. Bellingham disappeared in a couple games. He's tended to, but I think that's just positioning. He's not he's not right for the England system that we're playing, but he's just a quality player, which is why he stood out in some of those games, especially in important like moments. He was pretty much involved in every goal we scored at the tournament.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a build up for his confidence as well. Like, he's only going to get better from now.
Yeah, at that age to do that. But I think Rice, Stones, it's hard to do it to 3, but Saka, I mean, honestly, even Kane for me was pretty good in that tournament. He did exactly what I thought he would. And who cares about the goals? It's like he scored up until that last penalty, he scored the penalties we needed him to score.
Yeah.
And he linked up the entire
His hold-up play was really good, wasn't it? Got us out of a lot of occasions.
Brought players into the game. He was exactly what I expected Kane to perform, was exactly what I saw throughout the tournament. So it's tough. There were some good players. So it's just, comes down to it.
Short again.
I think mine would be, I don't really have a particular order as such, because there were so many to pick from. And I think if you gave me the top 10, it'd be a lot easier. But top 3, definitely Saka, 100%. I think he's coming in leaps and bounds since the Euros. Rashford as well. I think he's proved a lot of people wrong since the last tournament as well. And also Maguire, because again, like, there was a lot of backlash and like, what's he doing here? He shouldn't be in the team. And I think he's really kind of made a comeback for himself and been like, look.
He rose above it. He's like, I'm not a shit player. I know what to do.
Give him the opportunities and he will take them. Like, I think he just needed that space. And I think, to be fair to Southgate gave him that space to prove himself, and he's done it in my eyes. And
I also think Southgate Maguire suits that style. He suits that system. He suits what it is. Southgate doesn't give that space, and that's where he's been caught out at United, where we've been trying to play different lines, and it doesn't suit him. As soon as you get anything on pace, then that's not what he's about. You need to. And Southgate, I think, has worked that out perfectly, and he's had that Stones Maguire partnership for 3 tournaments now, so it really has grown. Yeah, I agree. So talking of Mr. Southgate, before we move into anything else, he's got an extension.
He's got
an extension.
Now, I am a bit on the fence about this one, because I know a lot of people have been giving him backlash, but up until recently, I have been one of Southgate's biggest fans, I think, and cheerleaders. I have been quite disappointed at some of his decisions in this World Cup. However, I think if he's given the Euros to go away, reflect, watch back what decisions he made, and build on it and learn from it, and then come back. And if we reach another final, even if we don't win, because we don't know who we're going to face, like in the Euros, then I think it's not the worst decision in the world, because the Euros, as much as it's great to win it, it's not the World Cup. It's the perfect training ground for the World Cup.
It's a different level.
I think he needs just that little bit more. If we can get behind him and just say, look, like, not last chance saloon, but just kind of show us what you can do, and show us that you don't, like, you don't mess around with your decisions, and bring them on a little bit earlier and stuff. If he sticks to the same play, then I'm going to be like, you know what, maybe your time's up. But if he mixes it up and actually shows that he's listening to the fans who can see it from the pitch, pitch side, then I don't see why he can't be extended again, and at least make it to another World Cup. But improvements do need to be made.
And I think the Euros is 18 months away, isn't it? So I kind of get it, because where's your candidates? Where's your options? And I don't think there really are any. So 18 months isn't a lot of time. And a lot of that squad is going to be the same squad. We're looking at a couple that maybe you're questioning, are they going to start to sort of dip and peak? The World Cup's a different issue, because I think in 4 years' time, Harry Kane, for example, there's a big question mark there. What's Harry Kane going to look like in 4 years? And that's a major part of the way he plays. But I think for 18 months of where we're at, and then seeing what's about, because the only English managers on people's names have been Potter and Eddie Howe in massive jobs at the minute. But we also know how Chelsea operate, and we know where Newcastle are looking to go. So in 18 months, you might have a different scenario, and then you can build. But as you say, it depends how the Euros goes, and we suddenly do what we did before, whatever, and we see improvements in some of these sections. But if we don't, then it's going to be impossible, I think, to carry, because everyone is now set on their right. The thing we need to see from Southgate is in-game management changes. Everything else we're fairly pleased with and happy with. It's the crucial moments where he makes the difference that he's going to be judged on next time around. Yeah.
And I think as well... Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think the in-game management is my biggest gripe. And the other one is the preparation for tournaments.
Mm.
So I'm very happy we went for a back four. I think everyone was happy with it because it's so much less negative than what we were doing before. However, if that was the plan, why the hell were we not practicing a back four during the Nations League? Why are we playing a back? And we did it last year before the Euros. We played a back four in qualifying. I think it was World Cup qualifiers, and then went to a back five when the tournament started. And he's done it the reverse way. He was playing that we were playing a back five in Nations League, and then the tournament starts and it's a back four. It's like, okay, that's a good move, but also why are we not constantly training this before the tournament? And why? And the other thing with that is why are we not trying new players in tournaments before? Ivan Toney, for example, why are we not giving Ivan Toney minutes? Obviously, you know, there's things that happen which would mean he wouldn't be there. But why is a player like that who's scoring a lot of goals not being given minutes before the tournament? So we know exactly if Kane's not scoring or having a bad game, we know how to bring in the Toney or a Callum Wilson and shift the tactics to suit them. But then what happens is we get into that tournament in France and we're going, Kane's just missed a penalty. We need a goal. We've got Callum Wilson on the bench who scores a lot of goals. You know, he's a very good conversion rate. But how do we play with Callum Wilson? Because we've never used them in this England team. So we don't know how to, you see, it's the things before tournament, those things that make sense. And it's very much, this is the first 11. That's it. I want to see more. And I don't think he's got it in him to experiment before. So I'm kind of just like, I was a bit deflated going into his World Cup, just seeing him there because I was a bit like, what's the point? But now going to the Euros, I'm like, I really can't be asked because. But I see it in two ways. It's like England should not go into tournaments thinking they should win it. We've won one World Cup. Like England are not a top side compared to, you know, your France's, your Germany's, your Argentina's, Spain's. So if you're going into the tournament with, you want to see, you know, some of these the young players on show, you want to see good teamwork and ethic and, you know, and positivity and things like that. And you want to see, then fine. Southgate's the man for that. If you generally think that this England team has a squad of players who could win a Euro or a World Cup, then now is the time when they've been playing together. They've had 3 tournaments together. Now is the time you go and you get the most tactically astute manager you can find and say, here's the team. Don't worry about training and all that stuff. Just put a team together for the tournament and manage it, and they could win it. But if people don't think that this team's ready to win, then fine. Then it's fair enough because England shouldn't have the expectation that they're going to win a World Cup or it would be, you know, it'd be an underdog winning it. Let's be honest. So I'm just a bit deflated, but yeah, it depends if you want to keep an English manager as well. Because I honestly would, like Rossi said, I would give it to Pochettino or Tuchel. Maybe not Pochettino. I'm a little bit on the fence with Pochettino because of, again, he hasn't really won anything. Thomas Tuchel with this team, I think, and he plays a similar sort of defensively solid football. I think that's a move where you go, shit, you wouldn't be surprised if he won the World Cup with that set of players. Yeah. However, you know, he's German and things like that, so I can imagine a lot of diehards would not be happy about that. But yeah, I think that the squad of players they've got there is we were talking about Gerrard and stuff before. It's people would say it's like, oh, what, you know, Southgate, what is he? He's, you know, where were England before Southgate joined? And then, but if you look at the teams that England have beat since like 2006, it's
the
shocking.
knockout list is not
the knockout list is not good in the World Cup. So, but in saying that, you know, we had Rooney, we had Scholes, we had Michael Owen, Gerrard, Lampard, Ferdinand, Terry, Ashley Cole, David C. Like we had, but then do people remember what we had on the bench? Matthew Upson, Kieran Richardson, Jake Livermore, like Tom Huddleston, like
Danny Mills.
Like England had a very good set of, they had like quite more world-class players back then, but they did not have a good squad or a good team. They in our lifetime, we've not seen, maybe, you know, mid-90s, I'd say that was a good team. Shearer, Gascoigne, that was much better. Paul Ince. But from the 2000s onward, I don't think England had a great team up until now where you can look through and you can go, there's a squad of players there who can all pretty much start, and you'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. Whereas back then, you're not starting Matthew Upson over a fit Rio Ferdinand or Terry. You're going, don't get injured because Matthew Upson's on the bench. No disrespect to Matthew Upson.
When he started, didn't he, 2006 against Germany, remember? Because
he scored that goal, didn't he?
Scored that goal, but it was absolutely all over the shop at the other end.
But it's like, yeah, we've got a good team. You've got some very talented players. If you really want to go and try and win it, I think you need to get someone a bit more with precisely the in-game management. However, if you want to continue the same sort of vibe, like we know what we're going to get in the next tournament. Let's be honest. You know, we're going to get a quarter or a semi in the Euros. Like I think all things considered, depending on the draw, but that's what we're going to get. We're not going to win it.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong. But at the same time,
I hope I'm wrong.
yeah, I hope you're wrong, but at the same time, I've still got that little glimmer of hope. But I think that's just embedded in all England fans.
I think it's forever, isn't it? And I think because we watched it and we thought we were so close against France, and to be honest, France out of the teams that were left were the ones that were worrying me the most. And you look at how everybody else fit, and no one else is absolutely. And I thought this a little bit for a while in international football. I know sort of France have been the most consistent. No one's pummeling it at World International. Brazil haven't won a World Cup in 20 years. Germany have been have dropped out twice recently. Italy won the Euros and then didn't even make the World Cup. Spain are on a drop off and don't have a striker.
Netherlands,
you're looking around and they're not the superpowers that they were. So you're thinking we're in that mix, but it's just the mentality and that final step, which is the hardest to take.
Even some of the teams you named, Spain post Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, David Villa,
nowhere.
That team is not a threat at all on the global stage. Let's be honest. Looking for that team, even their set of young players, Pedri and Gavi, these are good young players. The rest of the squad, they're not a threat. You don't come against that Spain side and go, you don't feel scared. You know they're going to play nice football and they're going to do a lot of triangles all game, but you're not scared of them. Like Morocco showed that. It's like we don't need to be scared. Same with Germany. Set of young players come through. No striker once again. They're not threatening. Italy. Hit or miss, I'd say, with Italy, but again, you know, they didn't qualify. Portugal are a mess, let's be honest. So you're right. This is the perfect time. England are one of the where you look for that squad. Netherlands squad is a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
It is. Realistically, we should be winning tournaments now because we are one of the better of the latter at the moment. Because like
we've been developed over a set of years. Yeah,
so many teams, their best years at the moment, as it stands, are behind them. Like you said, Germany. Netherlands, etc. Like a lot of them, they aren't performing nowhere near as good as they used to be. Like I still can't believe Germany's dropped out of the last couple of tournaments. The way
made out of the group in 2 World Cups.
The fact that Italy beat us in the Euros and then didn't qualify for the World Cup just baffles me even more. Like we are of the caliber that we need to be. We just need the mentality and the management to kind of pull it all together.
Yeah. Because the players, squad wise, we've got. Looking for it again, we've got. You can make a case for top 2, top 3 squad of players in the world. You could make an argument for first, second, or third. To be honest,
and it's a young enough squad that it's a squad we're going to see in the Euros, isn't it? It's not you're thinking there's 5 or 6 going. It's going to be the majority of these plus the young ones like Bellingham probably will have a Premier League season under his belt by then because he's going to get a move, isn't he, in the summer? Another 18 months of a Foden and 1 or 2 others, Saka,
Grealish.
Grealish, maybe
these guys are all young. Kane is the only thing. It's the other thing. The glaring issue is our striker and our captain, and pretty much one of the most complete strikers we've had since Wayne Rooney is 30, and we do not have a replacement striker because we haven't been introducing. We've tried it with a little bit of Tammy Abraham. We haven't given Tony a chance. Tony's probably going to get a huge ban. Callum Wilson's again. He's not young. We haven't got much time here because take Kane out of that.
There's not the obvious choice, is there?
It's very different.
That in.
Yeah, so it's a very different. So this is it. Like,
I'm hoping though, in the next kind of like year, at the very least, some new fresh talent comes out that being like, you know what, actually, that they're something that needs nurturing and it could actually help us. I'm not expecting anyone like stupidly fresh to get into the team, but someone that's maybe a little bit more up and coming that has like a really good end to their season now and like starts to build up a little bit, who could make it into the team and make a difference. We don't know what's around the corner. So hopefully some fresh talent could come through and at the very least inspire the team to do a little bit better. It's like, this could be our future. Yeah. Let's nurture that and build on it.
I mean, you always get that next one coming out of nowhere, and probably 18 months is going to be a bit soon, isn't it, to find something like that? And then by the time you get to the World Cup, because you look a few years back, and obviously we don't talk about what's going on, and you look at Mason Greenwood, for example, that United were looking at and where that was going, and we thought that was a path, and that's obviously now off the table. But someone that kind of hits out of nowhere like that, steps up, and then all of a sudden, within sort of 3 months, we're all talking about the future. Someone bright and exciting hits on that. That's what we need. Is something to come through that gives us that hope to the next level. And so, hello, sorry, Shane Blaine's come to join us. Hello, Pete.
Actually, it's a very interesting. Like, if you think about it, do we have? Who is the next young English? There isn't one young English striker.
Not at the moment. Like maybe a year ago, it would have been Bellingham, but like obviously Jude's had his like little.
No, but like striker, like as in we're not looking. When we had, I can remember from mine, we had Cherry and right, and then it was Michael Owen, and then it was Wayne Rooney, and then it was Harry Kane. and it's like, now who's next?
Who's the man? Yeah, maybe we're gonna go false nine. That's what's gonna happen.
We'll go false nine.
False
if we
nine
start
with
next Euros false nine with Mason Mount, I'm not watching the whole tournament.
I know.
I'm going down to the FA's office with a picket, and I'm starting the protest.
It's
I know
game
Shaw
over.
loves Mason Mount, but I'm sorry, Shaw. No, it's a no from me.
That's the one where he has to realize Mason Mount should be fighting to get on that plane. Let's be honest, let alone the first 11.
I think it's time. Yeah, it's time. It needs to develop a lot more with the talent that's coming through for sure. I think what we'll do now is we'll move. Say we've covered England, and we'll move on quickly to this next section before we get to our team of the tournament. But underachievers and overachievers. We're talking about a whole tournament here. Who achieved and who didn't achieve. Lucas, you want to take us through your thoughts? Underachievers. Do you want to start with underachievers?
World Cup of all time.
Yeah.
There's so many to pick through, but I think what I'll do is I'll just go around the room, and I'd like you to give me a big underachiever, and give me the reason why. I know we've mentioned quite a few names, but again, I've gone through, and there's at least 5, I'd say, of each one, which make a good case.
Yeah.
So, Haley, you're up. Biggest underachiever and why? That's an interesting one. Yeah.
They're the host country, and they did absolutely rubbish. Like, I've never known a host country go out in the group stages before. Like,
the first team out after game 2 as well.
South Africa went out in the group as well, didn't they?
I'm not being funny. Like, there was a lot of controversy about it being in Qatar. I'm not going to get into that now because we'd be here all evening, maybe even an extra day. But I was a little bit about it being in Qatar. But what's done is done. We can't change it. But, like, you'd think this was their time to prove everything wrong. Like, we are a really good host country. Let's do this thing. Let's play some proper football. Let's actually show how welcoming and how we do things here. No, let's go out after a couple of games because we can't kick a ball.
Yeah, and it's not like Qatar. They won the Gold Cup. They're the holders of the Gold Cup. It's like South Korea, Japan. They've played these teams and beaten them in a tournament. So I was very shocked. Qatar's a good one. I didn't even think about that because we all kind of bantered it a bit like, oh, it's Qatar. But it's like when I saw that they got the Gold Cup, I was like, oh, hold on a minute, they might actually do something here.
And they trained for this tournament. They abandoned everything to train for this tournament as well. Their whole life,
all their players play in Qatar.
Yeah, and then literally, they didn't even get past the group stage. What's that all about? Like,
they lost every game.
It was just baffling for me. So for them, when you said, like I said, Gold Cup and everything like that, I thought they would at least get past the group stages.
Yeah. Or win one game, at
least win one game. Yeah,
they were the worst team on paper, worst goal difference, most losses. Yeah,
aren't they the only host country as well not to at least win one game, if I remember rightly?
Yes, South Africa won.
South Africa won that first one, didn't they?
Yeah. So yeah, they are the underachievers for me. I'm sorry, Qatar, but step your game up. That was disappointing.
That's a good one, actually. I didn't even think about that. Hello, realist. Ducks. No. Biggest
underachiever for me, Belgium. Belgium have fallen off a cliff. I'm not kind of surprised too much with Belgium because I didn't tip them to go too far, but I thought they'd have enough to do something at very least. They've still got De Bruyne. They've still got quality through that team. Even the depth that they kind of had just didn't turn up, arguing about each other. They're all too old, which they are. But, Vertonghen and Alderweireld, they're beyond the point of where they need to be. It's just that entire squad has gone at the same time, isn't it? Yeah. It's gone at the same time. And then they brought Lukaku on, who's barely played, and then had an absolute shocker. He had a Lautaro Martinez in front of goal. He was so bad. So for me, I think Belgium were just completely disappointing, massively underachieved. At very least, they thought they were going through to the knockouts, didn't they?
Yeah. I think when you look at their group, because it's Belgium, Croatia, Canada, Morocco. So on paper, I think everyone was like, the only reason I wouldn't go Belgium is because I looked at the team and I was like, firstly, Roberto Martinez, God, it's just, how he's managed to keep that job for so long. And then, like you said, the aging squad, I was like, they've passed their peak. But you're right in that I did think they would get through the group, but just about scrape it. But they were all, and then the in-team fighting, like the stuff that was going on, it was a mess. It was embarrassing for Belgium. Belgium, Qatar. I'm gonna go Germany.
Okay.
I know they didn't qualify for the last World Cup, but it's Germany. So no matter what they do in the previous ones, people like Germany again. Germany always gonna be one of the favorites. I thought they had a good squad this time around. They didn't leave Sane at home, so it was always a positive.
Yeah.
And I was expecting a bit more from Hansi Flick, who I think there's question marks over his. People don't want to have this conversation, but I think there's question marks over his ability as a coach, because he did a very good job at Bayern Munich. But as we're seeing, I think pretty much everyone on this podcast could do a very good job at Bayern Munich or PSG. And they were really disappointing. I thought they were pretty poor. And obviously they didn't get out of the group. And it's not good for their first tournament under a new coach who came in with a very big name, playing a very good brand of football with a good set of players. I think Timo Werner was the major injury, but again, it's Timo Werner. So yes, Rusty said the coach. Yeah, I didn't even realize at the time he won the treble it was the lockdown treble, wasn't it? Which again, so adds another question mark.
Very true.
But so Qatar, Belgium, and Germany.
My only thought with Germany was that group that they had. I just think because they played Japan first, if it happened to be Spain playing Japan first, I think the same thing may well have happened.
Yeah,
because Costa Rica were nowhere, were absolutely shocking, and Spain just demolished them. But Japan caused, and I just think it would have changed it around. And the only thing I had with Germany was that Spain game. They settled for the draw. I just did not understand what they were up to.
Yeah, they did.
This is your opportunity, and they just
you have to win it. Yeah, and they was
got to go for it.
It's Werner. They were missing Werner.
They kind of just took it, didn't they? Just was like, you know what? That'll do. We're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've had a good try.
Yeah, I want to go home now.
We're going to go to the other side of things, and I wonder if we'll struggle to come up with a different one here. But biggest overachiever and why, Hayley?
So I think it's going to be the same for both of you guys.
Should we all just say Morocco is the top one? Yeah. Outside of Morocco, who's the biggest overachiever?
You know what? Like, it's going to be a bit controversial, but I think France.
That was mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing is, as much as I'm a little bit disappointed with the tactics in the England game and stuff like that, like they did pull together really well as a team. There was a lot of focus on Mbappe, which I can understand why. He's a fantastic player. But I think they kind of took that in their stride and like just kind of pulled together really well and played together as a team really well, despite the fouls. I'm not going to go back into that because I'll be here all day. But generally, they did score a lot of good goals. Like, they've got a good partnership, especially like with some doubles, like let's say Mbappe and Giroud. Like, them two are like that. They are maybe even dating for all I know. Like, I saw the pitch side like love that they were giving each other, like proper bromance there. Yeah. So you can just tell as a team they really gel and they really get on with one another, and they want each other to succeed. And I think sadly now, as much as it probably does exist, not many teams are very open to that on the pitch or on the pitch side. You don't see it very often. So it was really nice to kind of see them all come together and just actually be supportive. Because when you look on the sidelines, usually it's like, what are you doing? Move. Like, it's all very negative and pessimistic. Whereas France, they came together really well. And obviously they did get to the final and Mbappe scored that hat-trick and whatnot. So I think despite all the spotlight on Mbappe, I think they did play really, really well. That's mine.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say it's hard to look past France and how dominant they were compared to where I think they should have been.
Overachieving.
I think overachieving, I would go with. Well, there's two. But I'm going with the second one because I love the second team. But the first team I don't love, but overachieved for me was Croatia. I thought Croatia were dreadful at times in this tournament.
They're playing penalty football.
they know they're good at penalties. How they got themselves through to a semi-final and beat Brazil in the process, I still can't quite fathom, really. So I'm going to have to say Croatia, just on the basis that they could have almost, so they didn't turn up against Argentina, but they played the same way that they had played all the way through, and someone just turned up against them, I think. So Croatia was my overachiever. But I just love Japan. I love Japan. I'm going to say Rusty say Japan. You can't not love Japan.
They did do really well.
It's the energy. It's the excitement. I mean, as much as say the game in the group game, you can't look past Argentina, Saudi Arabia for that. That was incredible. But for me, the other one was the Germany-Japan game, and just the way Japan turned round and their appetite. And it seems to be the same every tournament. And they've now got some quality players in there as well that are playing in Europe at the highest level and adding so much to that team. So I was so disappointed for them they got knocked out against Croatia, because I really would have loved to see them against that Brazil team and see what they did. So yeah, Croatia were my overachievers, but a special spot in my heart for Japan.
Yeah, I like those ones. I think it's a tough one with Japan, and because I was very excited for Japan going into the tournament. I thought they looked, some of the pre-seasons, like the pre-games before, they looked good. And like you said, they got a lot of exciting players in there, and they were just going for it, which you always want to see in the World Cup tournament. Just go for it, just go for it. Whereas Croatia, I think, they were a bit boring, dull. But I think they did have the best midfield in the tournament at some points. Like that midfield three was very much carrying the team, and then Vardio was great, and the goalkeeper had a few. But yeah, no, I put France simply because they had 6 first teamers missing, and they didn't play. This was like the worst France side I've seen for a long time in terms of the lineup. The football they were playing was not great, and they were getting bailed out by Mbappe, Griezmann, Giroud. The front three, or again, Dembele was awful. The defense was, again, really, really bad defense for France's standards. But they got to the final and took it to penalties. And I'm like, I couldn't see it. And I generally think France should have gone out here like they did in the Euros in this tournament. No Pogba, no Kante, no Benzema. Say we want about Kimpembe, but he's a starter in that team. And then Hernandez got injured in the first game. They had to play. They were playing Camavinga at left back. Like it's
they were, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
It was just like I was looking at it, I was like, how are France still going? Like, I mean, it says a lot about Mbappe, to be honest, in some of these. But I thought France France were quite lucky to get all the way to the final.
Oh yeah, they were
penalties.
100%.
Yeah,
I didn't touch on the defense a bit actually. Like you hit the nail on the head there. I agree. Was shoddy.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It
was, which is we should have scored a goal from open play against that defense. And then finally, we've probably got a few in here, but the worst team of the tournament, which I think we've kind of said with the underachievers, haven't we? But I think we can all agree probably Qatar is the worst team in the tournament.
Qatar were the worst, that first game where they had all that excitement, and then Ecuador were just absolutely all over them, and they just couldn't put 2 passes together, and that was just the same for the whole tournament. No football. They were poor. I thought the same with Iran first game, but because they did well against Wales and they turned it around.
USA was pretty exciting as well.
USA they did a decent job against. Worst team Qatar. One I was most disappointed with was Canada. Didn't quite come together for Canada. They were one that I thought might get out of the group.
Yeah, I expected a bit more from Canada because of literally like the young team that they had. I thought they were going to do a much better job than they actually did. But to be fair, I just don't think it was their tournament. Like they might come back stronger, but
they're hosting the next one. It was a nice warm up for them. Yeah, building for 26. Same with USA, I think.
I think the best way I can sum up Qatar is imagine it's sports day at school, and you get the "I took part" sticker.
The kid it is so bad, they're crying, and they're like, we have to give him something so he won't stop crying.
It's okay, it's taking part that counts.
Literally. Mexico were really poor as
they
well.
were
I agree.
They were terrible. They didn't have any attack, did they? Terrible.
I think in terms of worst team, I think Qatar as well, but I think in terms of what I was watching, Wales really killed the tournament for me. And I hate to say it. I know, thank God Josh isn't here, but Wales, I was watching Wales and I was so bored. They were the most boring team for me.
Yeah.
They offered nothing.
I couldn't understand what they were doing. I couldn't understand that they went against their own kind of guises, which was go at teams and just be aggressive. They just couldn't do it. They did it for 20 minutes against the Americans. But
yeah, and I'm so disappointed because I really wanted Wales to do well because, they are a home nation. They are our neighbours.
Wales last tournament, Ramsey's last tournament.
I think there is a lot of potential there, but they weren't strong enough to be in this tournament this time. I think that was a given. But I do think the experience, they should take it away and build on that because I don't see any reason why they can't return, not necessarily next tournament, but at least in the Euros or in another World Cup or something, take that experience because it's the first time in 60 odd years they've managed to get back in. So, I think they've got potential. They just need to explore that potential and actually like do something with it, because they can. They will get further at some point. It's just a case of when.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was the Bale. They were really trying to do what they did last time in that we have to go through Bale and Ramsey there. And then after the first game, you're like, these guys are kind of, they're past it. And Wales didn't really have a backer. Yeah, the legs weren't then. It was like, you can't go through Gareth Bale now. You need to actually build a team. So I think you're right. There's some decent players in that team, but it was like they set up wrong in that we have to go through Bale and Ramsey. And it was like, these guys they're past it. So it's not.
They were relying on them way too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So yeah, I think Wales were disappointing, and we did have a few disappointments. But I think let's get back to the best. What was the best of the World Cup? And what we want to move on to now is our team of the tournament. So if you bear with me, and I'll try and see if this comes up because I've worked on this today. So there we go.
Look
at this. Full on, we've got our podcast logos. Right? So if you're listening to this on Spotify,
we've got a team now.
YouTube. We've got a team kit up here. So we're going to fill this in with our team of the tournament. This is going to be our agreed team. So whether there's any arguments or whatever, I'm going to be the deciding factor. Yeah. I've been in charge of the host today, so therefore I can make the rules. So.
Well, if Josh is away, we shall play.
Well, Josh is away, we shall play. So sorry, Josh, no Wales players will be making this 11. So we shall start with. Should we start with the goalkeeper? So the goalkeeper. I haven't really got a short list, but in my mind was kind of Martinez of Argentina. Was I always want to call him Livramento, which I know is not right. The Croatian goalkeeper,
Livakovic.
That's it, Livakovic. And again the Moroccan goalkeeper,
Bono.
Was it Bono?
Bono from U2.
Bono from U2. Bono from U2. Where do you stand on the goalkeepers? Obviously, Martinez got the Golden Glove, and I have a view, but I'll let you guys step in first. Lucas, what do you reckon?
It's a tough one, but I'm gonna go. Martinez is the obvious choice, but I don't think he was necessarily that great up until the latter stages. I think throughout the tournament, I'm gonna go Livakovic. I thought he made some really, really good saves in some of those games, and he just looks solid. Yeah, favorite to watch for a goalkeeper. It's actually entertaining watching a keeper do. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Like some of those games, it was just like he's brilliant.
Yeah, and Hayley, for you.
You know what? It's a bit of a cop out, but I agree with Lucas. Really, I enjoyed watching him. But at the same time, like I've always had it in my head, Martinez, because obviously he won Golden Glove and stuff like that. But after the final, my focus has been on the final that much as like, yeah, he's my goalkeeper. But now you've said that, I'm like, no, you know what? No. But yeah, I'm joining you on that one.
Joining Livakovic. I've got to be honest, I'm going to make it a full house of Livakovic because as Lucas well knows, and you'll learn this, Hayley, I do like a stat. I love a good stat. So I was having a little bit of a rummage today on Livakovic because I thought the same. And I thought Martinez got the Golden Glove based on the final, based on the penalty shootout. And there was possibly questions over the 2 goals he conceded, I thought as well, which I don't think were not unsavable. Livakovic, 23 saves in the tournament to the 7 that Martinez made. He made 14 saves inside the box to Martinez's 3. Martinez's save percentage, 47%. Livakovic, 78%. So a swing of 30% that. And actually in the penalty shootouts, Livakovic saved 4 penalties and Martinez scored 3, saved 3. So for me on the stats...
he had 2 penalty shootouts as well, which he saved,
Which he saved as well. So I think we're all
and he's a football manager legend. We can
he's a football manager, which always helps. It always helps. So I'm going to stick him in and we're going to have a go.
I think we were all proud of seeing Livakovic at this tournament. Everyone needs a football manager.
Everyone's very happy. Livakovic straight in there. And I think right back assuring as well. Are we all on the same thinking for right back?
Ooh,
if I throw Achraf Hakimi out there at you?
Yeah, I think. Who else could you make? The Croatian, what was his name? Sos? Although he had a shocker in the France game. Sorry, the Argentina game, not the France game.
Anybody else at right back?
No.
I think Hakimi's got that one. Definitely not Koundé. And what's his name? Montiel was all right, but I think he was a bit like he didn't really impact the games.
No, he was okay, wasn't he?
He was okay, yeah.
And we'll switch to left back, which I think this was one of my hardest positions on the field when I was looking at it in my list. And the two names that kind of kept coming up, and I don't think either were particularly phenomenal, was Theo Hernandez and Acuna were the two. I couldn't really think of anything else, of anybody else that had gone close that you could throw in there.
No, not really. I was struggling to think of any kind of standouts, to be honest, for left back.
And the only reason, I went with Hernandez in the end in my list, and that was only because all I remember is Acuna just punting the ball everywhere in the final and kicking people left, right, and centre when he was playing at left wing when he came on for Di Maria.
I have one, although he wasn't really. He filled in at left back in transition because they were playing a back five, and I thought he was the standout in that defence, and that was Nathan Ake for Netherlands.
Okay.
But he was playing centre back next to Van Dijk. He just moved into left back, so it's not really a count. But I think that's when I was looking for it, that was the closest one I could do. I was like, I think you're right in that. Yeah, Acuna is probably going forward. He was a menace.
Yeah, he was a menace, and say if you come on in a World Cup final, you win. I've not seen that much kicking in a World Cup final since Nigel de Jong when they played Spain, and he got away with about 7 bookings in that game, if I remember.
Left back for South Korea was good. Cancelo was pretty awful.
Cancelo was terrible. Yeah, he was really bad.
Danilo shocking. Left back was a pretty poor showing across the tournament, wasn't it?
I was a poor showing. So we're going to go with Acuna. Then who are our centre back partnerships? Do you want to go first on this, Hayley? John Stones.
I think he deserves a place there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
John England didn't concede a lot of goals at the tournament as well. So
I think he's an amazing centre back. It's got nothing to do with the fact that I fancy him a little bit.
He's kind of wasted at Man City a bit, John Stones, isn't he?
I think he is.
He's a very solid defender.
Yeah. I think he's kind of done his time at Man City now. To be honest, I think he needs to have a newer opportunity.
I think he should push for a move abroad. I think he should try and get in the top side abroad, see what he can do. But
it would be interesting. He could play abroad, couldn't he? Certainly has the style to play abroad. Yeah, John Stones for me, I think. Then I was looking at the other position, and I say Gvardiol had a fantastic, that Messi one aside, which was, to be fair, would have turned most players out. The only other name I had in was Roman Saiz, which was a surprise for Morocco.
Yeah.
He's playing in Turkey now, wasn't he? I think he was, when I was looking, it's at Besiktas or something like that. He just
left Wolves, didn't he?
Just left Wolves, but are we all agreed on Gvardiol?
Yeah, Gvardiol, and like you said, Saiz was the honourable mention. I thought Pepe was really good as well, but not as good as those three. Pepe for Portugal. And that's about it. No, I wouldn't give anyone from Argentina and France. I thought that's their weakest positions.
Well, it was, particularly with the World Cup winning Lisandro Martinez on the bench, the giant of world football.
Well, if we're putting Martinez in there, I want to put Saliba forward for the 40 minutes he played.
That's true. To be fair, if Martinez was at the centre back for Argentina and Saliba, we wouldn't have got that exciting real draw, would we? In a shutout. So we'll move into the midfield, and so I've stuck it as a 4-3-3. As that tended to be the kind of most used sort of formation. Central midfield.
DM.
Take us for a
DM.
So a DM, we could make him a CM.
It's got. You know what? It's tricky, but I'm going to throw Amrabat.
I think Amrabat was good.
I was shocked at how good he was in some of the, especially against Spain, who dominated possession. He was all over that 3 in the midfield.
Yeah,
that was the game. I was like, okay, well, let's see. And then he continued the whole tournament.
He was superb. I thought Amrabat in that Morocco side, and was the other guy I'd never heard of was Unahi. He was the one that came completely out of nowhere in that midfield. But Amrabat was better. So we sticking him at DM for Amrabat.
Go on, then.
You could put who else? You put Chu and Many. You can make it. Oh well, to be fair, all of them can rotate. But DM Amrabat was the proper DM. Rice. Not going to put Sergio Busquets anywhere near that. Casemiro was pretty good, but not as good as Amrabat, I felt.
No, I think Amrabat is, I think he's a safe bet in there.
Yeah.
And then moving into the other positions in midfield, I'll throw you one that I've got to start off. Enzo Fernandez.
Okay.
1000%.
Was superb, I thought. If we're all in.
Unbelievable player.
Agreed with Fernandez. Yeah, we'll put Fernandez in there.
Oh, to be fair, you're going to... I think it's going to be 2 Argentinians, isn't it? It's a tough one, but when you say Fernandez, you kind of got to put. I think McAllister might even have been player of the tournament.
Oh,
if it wasn't for Messi,
he was.
See, I was going to say Saka as well, but
he was. I mean,
yeah.
McAllister was just unbelievable, wasn't he?
Was,
what Brighton have got someone else in their hand that they're now going to sell for 70, 80 million next summer.
They've got a load. McAllister, Caicedo, and Matumo, who was playing for Japan.
Matumo was good. I didn't, and Estupinan, I didn't think was bad for for Ecuador either.
Brian have solidified their income for the next 4 or 5
I can't wait for January transfer deadline. That's going to be wild.
Chelsea 70 million bid, McAllister.
See, Rusty's got Enzo, Bellingham, Moroccan. I think it's tough to look beyond McAllister, isn't it? I think I've been chucking this joke around all week since the final. I think the best performance of a McAllister at Christmas since Kevin's ultimate defensive performance in Home Alone back in the 90s. Unbelievable. So I think we have to go for him. I mean,
Central
in the final,
midfielder was the key. Central midfield, I think this tournament there was some. I even know what's his name, like Matumo as well. Like these guys were really good. Frankie De Jong was good.
Frankie, yeah. He's a McAllister, isn't he? There we go.
I think Bellingham would be maybe this time next tournament in ours.
I think if we went further, isn't it? If we went at least to the semis, then Bellingham would have been absolutely crucial. Yeah,
100%. But I think as much as I think he's done fantastically, he needs a bit more experience before he kind of makes this. Not like we're football managers or anything anyway.
This is going to be... we got to the front and it's kind of like, you might as well just write the 2 names in there on the left-hand side and through the middle.
Let's put
we put Messi on the wing. Yeah, go on then, yeah.
Let's put Messi on the wing, I thought.
Messi on the wing.
Mbappe over here. Oh, not Mappe.
Not Mope, please, no.
Mbappe and Beppe DeMarco.
Striker could be interesting.
I would have definitely put I will definitely put Foden forward as well, just because I think he's done fantastic. He's done a lot better this tournament. Yeah, honourable mention.
I think what went against him was there's the early stage of Southgate didn't pick him till was it Wales? No. Was it his first game? No. So, but yeah, I agree. I think when he did play, he just oozes quality, doesn't he, Foden? I mean, there was again, without wanting to stick to just the finalists, but of course they're the finalists for a reason. The name that I had was Julian Alvarez. Just on the basis that he didn't start the tournament as their number one, and partly because Lautaro Martinez could still be playing in the World Cup and still not scored off his performance. But to step into the team and what he was creating so much and just making such a hassle was making it so difficult and opening space up for Messi as well. And then obviously Olivier Giroud, you can't ignore either.
Yeah. He was brilliant against Croatia. He was brilliant against Netherlands. Australia was all right, and I think the group stages we saw a bit of him in there, and then the final. I didn't think he had a great final, Alvarez. But then again, when you're looking at Giroud.
He didn't look right in the final, did he? So him and Dembele. I've never seen a man have a worse final than Dembele. Yeah. Gee whiz, we missed that. But
I can't give it to Kane just because the penalty. So even though overall tournament was good,
if he'd not missed the penalty, I would have been like, Kane 100%. But
Richarlison is a shout. He was a little bit off in the last game, but I think all of the games he played, he was brilliant.
Yeah, but if you look at the bulk of it, he did perform really, really well at the rest of the tournament. Everyone's allowed a blip.
He was strong.
Definitely not that one from Rusty.
Well, yeah, true.
It's a fair, Josh Sargent with the tournament of a lifetime. Yep.
It's kind of Richarlison, Giroud, and Alvarez.
And Alvarez. Go on then. What's your final name, Lucas? What's your those three? Where you going?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Giroud because I think he was sick in that last game, and I think. With Benzema missing, everyone was like, why we're going to have to do Giroud again? He's old. And I think he just proved that his technical ability for someone at that height is still at the elite level. And obviously he got the record for France's big most goal scorer this tournament as well, breaking Henry. So I'm going to go for Giroud overall.
I think I'm going to agree there. To be honest, I didn't even think of Giroud, but I mentioned him earlier and now I've kind of replayed it in my head. It just seems like a bit more of an obvious choice because, like Lucas said, like he's kind of proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, he has. I was touch and go with Giroud or Alvarez, and I just settled on Alvarez. But say it's 2 against 1, and I'm a team player, so I'm happy to go with.
Can you imagine that front three? Giroud with Messi and Mbappe on either side.
Messi, with look at that energy in midfield behind it as well.
It's a pretty good team there.
And you got Messi bombing in here, Hakimi bombing down the outside.
I make a case that is the best team in the world right now.
Something else.
Do they not do like a World Cup fantasy league? Like, if not, that should be a thing.
They do them, yeah. I don't think it's as like the Premier League one. I think there's several competitors. I think so. There's not like one big, but they did do a couple.
I want to win.
That's the one. So there we go. We'll save that and we'll post that out on the social, so you can find it. If you are listening on Spotify or any of the sort of podcast accounts, then we will stick it onto the Instagram and on the Twitter as well if you want to have a look in its full glory in terms of what we've done. So we're almost there. I mean, we're slightly over the time, but again, I'm in charge, so we can do what we like. So we're not leaving. We're not leaving until we finish with a World Cup quiz, which I'm calling Merry Quizmas, because of course it's Christmas as well, but it's not about Christmas. It is about the World Cup. So I need to just move this across because now I've got that on the other screen. I've got my questions, which are quite important, I found, for a quiz. Yes. So we're going to start. Effectively, we have 5 questions. And we did have a tiebreaker question, but I've just realised I didn't work out what the answer was. So I hope it doesn't go to a tiebreak question. And I might ask that to you and then find out in the background while you're deliberating it if we get that far. But, so we're going to go alternate. And of course, it's 0-0 to start. So I'm going to start with Hayley. You get to go first.
Okay.
So this one, it gets slightly harder. I think the first ones are not too bad. We'll see. So which player in England's World Cup squad does not play his football in the Premier League?
That's not fair. Oh, I can't remember. I feel like I know this as well. I can't remember. Right, okay, hang on. Foden's Man City. Grealish is Man City. Man City. Stones is Man City. Mount is Chelsea. Saka is Arsenal. Rashford is Man United. Maguire is Man United. I can't remember. What's going on?
This is brilliant.
Oh no. Lucas knows. I can see in Lucas's eyes. He knows.
It's when she listed all of them and I'm like, as soon as you list it, you're going to know who it is.
I can't remember who it is. I'm going to have to pass. I can't believe I'm doing this. This isn't fair. This is not a Merry Christmas at all.
You're going to kick yourself.
You're going to yeah, you are.
I know I am.
Jude Bellingham.
I'm out. I've said his name so many times tonight.
That's what I mean. I was waiting for you to say it. And I was like, you've listed everyone but Jude.
I thought this is for sure. This is for sure. It's all right. You've got many questions to come. It's not over. It's not over till it's over. Mbappe proved it's not over till it's over. You've started like France, but you can Mbappe this back. It's fine.
I've got violins playing in my head right now.
Right. So over to Lucas for your question number 1. So Lionel Messi, of course, won the Golden Ball, but who won the Bronze Ball?
Giroud.
No, it was Luka Modric. It was Luka Modric.
Wait, what's I've got. Where's the Bronze Ball?
The Bronze Ball. I wasn't even aware there was a Bronze Ball.
I didn't know there was a Bronze Ball.
Third top goal scorer.
No, it's the bronze. So the Bronze Ball is there. So Messi got the Golden Ball, the best player in the tournament. So the ball's the player, and then the boot is the scorer. So yeah, so it was the player of the tournament with the Bronze Ball, apparently, according to FIFA.
Modric, the player of the tournament.
He got Bronze Ball in the tournament.
Right, yeah,
so there we go. It's an educating quiz.
There you go.
So Hayley, you're back on. So I'll stick this back up again because it is 0-0 so far. No one has got any points. Next up, Hayley, how many goals did Cristiano Ronaldo score in Qatar?
I wasn't paying as much attention to it. I feel so seen right now. I'm just going to guess 4.
1.
Oh, I obviously gave it
was a single one.
I knew of 1, but I was like, surely there must be more. It's more than 1. It's Cristiano Ronaldo.
A shocker, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, when Portugal were playing was mainly when I was in the Mr. Bubble work and I missed a lot of their matches, to be fair. So
there you go. So you were working, which is a valid. You didn't miss much, yeah. You would have thought, say, if he was on the pitch against, who was it they absolutely battered? Who was it they battered in the
Switzerland?
Switzerland, that was
That's
it. If he'd have played in that game, then perhaps, because they were terrible.
Yeah.
So right, next, back across to Lucas, and keeping with the same theme, how many goals did Robert Lewandowski score in Qatar?
2.
Correct. It was 2.
Oh, nah.
He got one
penalty,
against
right?
Saudi Arabia and one against France.
One was a penalty, one was a header.
One was a penalty and one was a header. So we are, after 2 questions, and you can see because it's on the ticker, it's 1-0 to Lucas as we go to question 3. Do not worry, because when we get to 4 and 5, they're multiple point questions, Ellie. So it's all to play for. It's all to play for. Third question. So again, back for Haley. How many players in the Argentina winning squad play in the Premier League?
Oh, man. I need to brush up on my knowledge. My God. Even now, I need to do my homework better. 3.
It's 5.
I was going to say 3. Who's the other 2?
It's 5. I didn't write them down.
Oh, Sandro Martinez.
So you've got Martinez, you've got McAllister,
Alvarez.
You've got Alvarez, Emiliano Martinez, and who's the 5th guy? Good question. I mean,
Romero.
I don't know. Romero, of course. Romero. It's a 5.
That's a tough one off the finger.
That was a tough one. I thought I'd laid you up early on. I thought we'd have points in the bag. By
That's
this
a
point,
trick one. They all play for big clubs as well. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, this feels like an exam, right? And just a disclosure for anyone who's listening or watching, I never did well in exams at school. I'm a coursework kind of girl, right? So please, I do have football knowledge. It's just not working for me tonight.
It's just not in this. It's a Christmas quiz, so Christmas quizzes are exactly. They're out there. They're weird. They're not in the same level as exams. So
well, there you go then.
Back to Lucas. So what was the same about the 2 teams in the 3rd place playoff this World Cup and the 2 teams in the 2018 3rd place playoff?
Wait, say the question again.
So what was the same about the 2 teams that played against each other in the 3rd place playoff this year and the 2 teams that played against each other in 2018 in the 3rd place playoff?
What was the same?
I mean, these are quite hard, to be fair. I've been a bit harsh. I've just read these back.
The score?
No. I mean, I don't think so. It wasn't a fact I had anyway. They were both in the same group together. Both the teams that played qualified out of the same group.
Croatia, Morocco.
Who
was one in 2018? England,
Belgium. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were in Belgium's group.
We were. We got diddled, didn't we? So it's still 1-0, and now there's points. There are massive points, and I think actually this is the chance, Ellie. I don't want to put pressure on, but if it's going to happen,
I'm not Hurricane. Don't do this to me.
If it's going to happen, this is 80 minutes of the final. It's Mbappe time. Name Gareth Southgate's 4 substitutions that he made against France.
My God.
There's a point for each. So
Grealish.
Yep.
Because he came on. Foden. Did he come on? No, he didn't. Hang on.
No.
Oh, I'm getting so confused with matches now. I was so in it. Mason Mount.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, I can't remember. Who came on? I'm not going to lie, I blanked most of it out because I was so upset.
Emotional turmoil.
Stormed out the room.
Yeah. Still digesting what happened. Still no. Rashford?
Rashford, yep.
Rashford, yep.
Rashford,
okay.
yep.
It's the last one then. Although having said that, I've already had 4 guesses, so
We've had 4 guesses technically, yeah. You could just say the whole squad and then
Yeah, I'll just do that instead.
Yeah, exactly.
For that. So we'll give you 3 points. The one that you missed, we spoke about it earlier, Raheem Sterling.
Of course. Yeah, you know what? It racked my brain a little bit. There was a very small period of the France-England game I missed because I was moving from pub to pub in Poland because it was too full.
Yeah, you missed when Sterling came on. Yeah, and did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and not only
Absolutely
that,
dreadful.
obviously because he went home and then came back again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, so that makes sense to me why I did not think of it, because I don't know if you heard me mutter it down. I was like, Sterling?
I heard you muttering. I thought she's
Yeah.
got no, and yeah, we were close.
No,
but
so
not,
there was a
not
slight
quite.
confusion there on my part. I blame Poland for this one.
Blame Poland.
Yeah.
And so we got 3, so that puts you 3-1. But over to Lucas, who also has 4 points on offer here for this question. So name 4 of Gareth Southgate's 5 substitutions he made in the final group match against Wales.
Oh,
So I'm giving you
come
4
on.
of 5 because it's a little bit further
That's
back.
harder
than
though, because it was earlier on.
Yeah, it was earlier on, and
Rashford
nope, he started.
shit
Oh, we did.
against Wales. Oh, I didn't watch this one. I think I watched the beginning of it.
It was a bit of a dull one, to be fair.
It was, wasn't it? It took a while.
Slow
Saka.
burn.
Nope. Saka didn't play at all.
Grealish,
Yep.
Calvin Phillips.
And Calvin Phillips, yeah. So that's, yeah. So 2 out of 4. We'll give you 2 out of 4 for that. The other 3 that you missed.
Eric Dyer.
No.
Oh.
2 of them were right backs.
Trippier.
Yeah.
Oh, Trippier.
Trent.
And the last one, Callum Wilson.
Yeah, when did I watch? Like, I think I watched the first half, and then I saw when the 3-0, and I was like, yeah, I'm not watching this.
Game over. So we are excellently poised. If I just update it correctly with the
Even
right number,
Stevens.
it'll be better. It's even Stevens as we go 3-3 into the final round. So let back to my questions, which I've lost. Where's my questions? There's my questions. So Hayley, it's back to you. And again, 4 points on offer. This is one of the hardest ones. I'm going to be honest. This is
This is one of the hardest ones. Where have we been up to now?
we've been building, and we now have points in the bag, so we can go difficult. In the World Cup, there was limited in terms of red cards. There were only 4 sendings off in the entire tournament. Can you name those who saw a red card? Point for each.
I am stressed. Oh, who got sent off? Admittedly, when watching it, I didn't see many red cards. I think I saw one, and I can't remember who it is.
I'll give you a clue. They were all extremely late on.
Yeah,
they were all late red cards in matches. I think
most
the
of the
first
later matches was when I was on holiday in Poland, so I didn't see a lot of the later ones. I saw England because I made a point of going to watch it.
The first ones are possible. I'll give you a clue. The first 2 are in the group stage, and the final 2 are in the knockouts.
Oh, hang on. I'm sure a Wales player got a red. Or am I making that up? Oh, hang on. Raised eyebrows. Hang on. Who was it? Oh, my God. I can't remember. I remember seeing... I'm sure it was Wales. I can't remember. Was it Gareth Bale? No. I'm sure I was saying I didn't think he got sent
I can remember one high profile one, but I can't remember the name. I just remember watching it at the moment and being like, oh my God.
Ramsey?
It wasn't Ramsey, no.
No, I can't remember. I might have to sack this question off, to be honest, because like the late ones I definitely didn't see or know about, and the early ones, apart from maybe a Wales player, I can't remember.
So you had. Do you want to come in with, say, not for any points, but Lucas, do you know any of them? There was a high profile one you knew. I think 2 of them were high profile. One I didn't even know happened.
Oh, damn. Is it someone from Brazil?
Yeah. No, but Brazil were involved.
It was Brazil versus...
It was Cameroon, and it was the goal scorer.
Oh, yes, for the taking the shot off.
Taking the shot off. Vincent Abubakar for Cameroon.
Yeah.
So scored against Brazil to give their first African winner Brazil, and got sent off for his shirt over the head, which is just ridiculous.
Honestly.
The Welsh one was Wayne Hennessy, the goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah.
God, I was so annoyed. I knew it was a Wales
Denied
player.
a goal scoring opportunity, yeah.
Was denied a goal scoring opportunity. There was one in the Morocco-Portugal game that was late. That was Walid Shadira.
I didn't
And
see that one, to be fair.
The one I didn't even know about was Denzel Dumfries for Netherlands versus Argentina because he got sent off after the penalty shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Which I didn't even know.
He got yellow after, second yellow after, yeah.
Second yellow after the shootout. So, yeah.
I think I only knew about one, and even then I didn't know who actually got it. But,
I watched all those games as well.
No, I didn't.
It was tough. I think because you said there wasn't that many, you kind of forgot about red cards for a while in that tournament, didn't you? Because there wasn't a lot.
The other
there were some
three,
really violent ones.
I knew there was the one in the Wales game, which I couldn't remember who got it, but the other three I didn't actually watch, to be honest with you, because I was away. So
it was tricky. It was tricky. But so Lucas, it's there for you. You're Harry Kane stepping up to your second penalty to finish it off. So Brazil, of course, came to a crashing end in a penalty shootout against Croatia. Whether they scored or they missed, can you name the 4 Brazilian takers?
Rodrigo.
Yep.
Marquinhos.
Yep.
Those are the 2 who missed. Casemiro scored.
He did, yeah.
Who was the 4th one? Anthony.
No.
Who was the 4th?
The 4th one was Pedro.
Oh, yes. The guy they subbed on. The target man.
The guy they subbed on. The target, the Brazilians, the first Brazilian target man in history.
Yeah.
It was Pedro.
The Brazilian Giroud.
Brazilian Giroud. So Lucas has brought it home with a 6-3 valiant effort, which has saved me because I didn't prep the tiebreaker question properly, so we don't have to worry about any of that.
Definitely going to be sulking after this.
It's a valiant effort.
Gonna go rewatch the whole tournament on YouTube.
No, I'm just bitter and petty. I'm just going to sit on my bed and sulk.
Sulk about it and think about the next 4 years to rebuild ahead of the next World Cup tournament. But the Euros are only 18 months away. You've only got 18 months.
This time in 18 months, when the Euros have been and gone, I will be better. And if I'm not, then boo.
Then we tried our best. So, well, congratulations, Lucas. You won the Merry Christmas. You've brought it home. Surprise. But that brings us today, I think, to say we've done very well. We cut the whole World Cup in an hour and 40 minutes, which I think is pretty good because a lot happened in the World Cup, and it's been a long time since we're all together. So it was good to have a chinwag about it all, get it all off our chest, and get the World Cup moved on because, of course, the Premier League is back. The Premier League is back. It's back this weekend, and Lucas is still top. Lucas is still top. Arsenal is still there, but they're doing it now without Gabriel Jesus. So we were talking just off the pod that it's a tricky run for Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus is injured, and games are coming thick and fast in the Premier League. So come the new year, we will be back with our regular podcast on Monday with the team, of course. Josh's not with us today, and so Charlotte's still with us as well. She's doing other bits today too. So we're all ready to give you stuff in the new year, getting really excited, and just keep an eye out on the Twitter, on the socials. But for now, I think we'll sign off. So if we'll go around the teams and where everybody can find you. Lucas, where can everybody find you?
You find me Crab Dribble on Twitch and Crab Dribble _ on Twitter. And I will be streaming tomorrow and Friday ahead of Christmas, ahead of that Christmas gap.
Lovely stuff. And Hayley, where can everybody find you?
On Twitter, you can find me Hayley_Grice, as it is spelt there, Rice with a G in front, if that helps you. And on Instagram, it's Hayley Grice. I have 2 accounts. Please don't follow my personal one. Thank you very much. No offense to you, but that is for my friends. And the many people that followed me before I made it private, apparently. But, don't actually have a Twitch or anything at the moment, but working on it. Maybe once I get a little bit more involved. To be fair, I do have a Twitch. I just can't remember the password. And to get a new password, apparently you have to have an upper letter, a lower letter, and the blood of a virgin. So it's a work in progress.
It's getting there. Don't ask Lucas about Twitch support. That's a different podcast.
Oh my God. They put every to shame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so good. So I'll finish off. You can find me. I'm up the FM Ducks on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. I'm revamping the website a little bit at the minute and doing some new things in time for the new year. So keep an eye or catch up with me on there. So that's just leads us to it to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we look forward to seeing you all in 2022. So ta-ta for now. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.